I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Guitar. Oh, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Nice. Good morning, CSLCB Valley.
Morning.
Welcome to the day. Welcome to the day the Lord has made. Let's be glad and rejoice in it. Ow! I'm feeling some Bible this morning. That's because I've been all juiced up and prayed up. I had Dr. Sue Rubin do my morning treatment for me this morning. You know I'm prayed up.
Right on.
Yes, we got the lovely Dr. Sue Rubin. We're going to jump on this stage together and see what comes out as we talk about fruit. Springtime. All right, let's see. Now, what is going on around here? Well, you know, we're kind of in a calm period. We gave our Ukraine relief stuff away, and boy, the news is, crazy about that. I tell you what, Biden's in trouble, isn't he? That last comment he made got some people really upset. It's interesting to watching the way the world works. Yeah, I tell you what, I can relate because I know what it's like to eat a toast sandwich. But we got some good things going on. You know, when we do this, we're doing this hands up on 40-day prosperity program. We're still working that. That's great. You know, when you send out these bulk emails, Constant Contact does a lot of metrics. You know, metrics with the computers look at who looks at stuff. And according to Constant Contact, if you get like 38% open rate, you're good. That's golden. That's really great. Do you know that our prosperity program has a 62% open rate and a 40% click rate? So people are doing it. You guys are doing this, and it's really, I'm noticing it's helping me. It's helping me realize where I need to grow. That, you know, that area of prosperity can be so slippery. We can so easily dive back into the lack consciousness, but we don't want to do that. And this is really helping me. I hope it's helping you as well. Let's look at what today's statement is. There it is. Let's do this together, today's statement. It says, I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good. And as I was working with that this morning, I was thinking about lifting up to raise up. And what happens when I lift up? And I talk about that a lot in biblical terms. I lift up my heart to soul, to heaven, and all that kind of stuff. But lifting up, when you get up to the highest view, that vista view gives such clarity. So I got this, that when I lift up my mind to a higher consciousness, when I lift up my heart, my feeling tone, so what I know and what I feel from a vista view, I get much more clarity. So I get a lot more clarity to be able to see, to feel, to know, to understand this divine presence that I am. And from that place, I can see that everything, every substance supply is a part of my good. And that's helpful because sometimes I find that the experience I'm having in this present moment doesn't feel all that good. How can I know it's my good? Well, because I haven't gone through it all the way. You know, what was it? Where was that we heard that quote? Was that Dennis that said that? Something about if you haven't received all your good yet, your journey's not done? I'm going to have to ask him about that. I'll call him up and find out that quote, because that doesn't sound profound at all, does it? So we've added something to the daily report that you're going to get. So now we're going to give you, with your daily reminder coming breeze, we're now recording the statements. If you're able to do that, just click on it. It should just download and open up right away. And you can listen to it as you read it. And I think sometimes when you can just hear it and see the words, it hits you in different ways. We're doing our Sunday service check-in. And then coming up on April 6th, this first Wednesday in April, it's going to be Reverend Johanna facilitating the spiritual spa. So come in and participate in that. And there's another Wednesday between April 6th and now, and that is the Dizay service coming up this Wednesday with Lane. She does a great job with the Dizay service. So this prosperity program that we're doing, that people are participating in, at least half of you, more than half of you, is part of how we do our vision and our mission statement and bring it to life. So let's do that right here and now. Here we go. We're community, inclusive, loving, and authentic. We celebrate all paths to God in gratitude, empowering self and others. We serve compassionately through outreach, inspiration, and education. That's who we are. That's why we're here, and here's what we do.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I invite you to join me in our opening prayer treatment. We know that there is only one life, one beauty, one wisdom, one substance, one form, one undifferentiated substance that is moldable. There is just that one thing of stuff, and it is divine. It is also all of our emotions. It is love and pleasure and goodness. And this thing is each of us. Each of us is this very thing. Each of us is this love and beauty and substance and thought. And we have a creative power, and we use this creative power to make this a wonderful day, a wonderful service, to know that everything that happens here happens exactly as it should. There is only the divine unfolding. There is only divine action right now, right here. And from this place of knowing, we have great gratitude, great appreciation, great thanks. And we release this word to the law, and the law says yes. And we accept this, we affirm this, and we exude this when we say, and so it is.
How can I serve today, sweet spirit? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Who needs my love today, sweet spirit? Who needs my love today, oh Lord?
So our affirmation today, I'll read it once and then we will all read it together. I am a flowering, idea-bearing conveyor of spiritual unfoldment. So together. I am a flowering, idea-bearing conveyor of spiritual unfoldment. And so it is. So my reading today is from the Science of Mind textbook. When we express a greater livingness, then life more completely expresses itself through us. A barren tree does not express the principle of abundance and production. Therefore, a barren life bleh. This is spirit unfolding, isn't it great?
Yeah.
Okay. Therefore, a life barren of good does not fully express the divine ideal. Evolution has brought us to a point of self-expression, and it can do no more until we consciously cooperate with it. Its law is one of growth and unfoldment. God goes forth anew into creation whenever anyone discovers a new truth or increases knowledge about an old one. Each is a center of the all, and each has access to the all through their own nature. There is a joy which is full and complete, that joy which no one can take away, the joy of a sense of completion. The greatest lesson ever taught is that love knows no bounds, and that the eternal goodness gives itself to all.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning, everybody. So this is our Sunday, the band and myself. So we've got some really cool tunes for you. This one you might recognize. Feel free to sing along. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, oh, but just for everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the sweet love. Thank you. Thank you, Ben.
So now is time for that love, sweet love inside, because the love inside and the love outside is the same love. So we're going to go into the silence for 3 minutes, and we'll keep the time for you. And here we go.
I am in the darkness. I am in the light. See me if you can. Everywhere I am.
So if you don't have meditation as a part of your practice, I invite you to make it, just try it out, just a few minutes of quiet. It's all it takes. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Rob. Beautiful. My friends, please welcome Dr. Sue Rubin to come join us today.
Yay, yay.
Yay.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
In honor of you being here and your belated birthday and
Yes.
the talk title.
Yes. Oh, you shouldn't have.
I know.
Oh.
I did. Fruit from the
Oh,
tree from
look.
Joanna and I's yard. Oranges and mandarins.
I really am fruity.
Yes, you are.
Thank you so very
okay,
much.
I'll put these back over on
From
your
the
chair.
ground up, in and as. I feel like I'm resounding aloud or
Yes.
something.
John's going to take
Am I?
care of that. We're going to drop the monitor here a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
How's that sound now? Go ahead.
Okay.
Do a count. How do you feel?
So, good.
Okay.
How's life? Let me shift. Maybe this is...
No, just stay there. John's
Okay.
going to do it. John's on it.
Okay.
It'll happen. I'll talk until you're ready.
Okay,
Until he's ready. Until he gives me the high sign.
good.
He'll work with it. It's going to be fine. So I was thinking a minute ago, like, if you call somebody, you say, you're a fruit. That's not always, like, the sweetest thing to say to somebody, is it? But we're going to shift that today. Because I really think that there's a lot to it. There is a spiritual metaphor working on this idea about being a fruit.
Right, because you've got to plant something to produce something. So that could be a starting point. To what am I seeding? Always the metaphor to the garden is very, very familiar to us. So, yeah, so in order to become a fruit in its sweetest essence of being, what is required of me? What is happening at that planting level?
Yeah. And so that's what we're going to do today.
Okay.
I have a few quotes, because I love quotes. I have a spiritual men's group that I've been in for like 14 years. And every week we start out, every month we meet, and every month we start out reading quotes. It's become a thing. Like, what do we do? Well, we read quotes. We were like surprised. We have quotes? Really? So today we have quotes. So we'll talk about those. But I wanted to begin with the idea of what you were saying, planting. So there's this give and take. And when I was thinking about this fruit idea, what I also saw is the fruit carries the seed. It also propagates the plant, and it brings nourishment at the same time. And if you think about what we do, we are the great I am that we were talking about a minute ago, right? So what we bring into the world is this opportunity to continue to push the expression of the divine through ourselves, and also to nourish that through our ideas, and to do it in a way that is responsible. Because that's the first part. That's responsible, and that's what brings us to this first quote. It's from the lovely book that I've been reading, Braiding Sweetgrass, and Rubin Kimmerer says, "In order to live, I must consume. That's the way the world works. The exchange of life for a life, the endless cycling between my body and the body of the world." When you hear that, what came with you when you were sitting with that idea?
The first thing that pops in my mind is that idea of oneness, because I think in the human realm it's very easy for us to see, well, what goes on underneath, behind the scenes is one thing, but how could that possibly relate to what I see outside in the form? So I always think of the circle, which we use not only in science of mind, but as a symbol for that unbroken continuity of the principle of life. And in the seeming differentiation and putting it in thirds, we've got the seed, the soil, and the plant. But the soil is not going to do the whole work. That which the idea is that is foremost in my mind, and I think for all of us, it's like, how do I maintain my own peace? And in some way, how does that thus contribute to peace and oneness with my brothers and sisters in Ukraine and in all the other parts of the world? I mean, I think, what are there, 21
other wars going on.
Places where war is happening. So for me, it's that oneness, that cycle between my body and the body of the world. The body of the world is my body. It's the body of my ideas, the body of what I most deeply am convinced about, embody, and identify with. Why not let that be God? Good. Ultimate reality.
What a sweet question. Why not let that be God? We can sit with that idea for a minute and hold that thought. I hadn't really, there's something about the way you just said it right there, that it landed in me in a different place. So when I'm seeing things that that are really tragic and that are really hurting, why not let that be God? Because then the endless cycling between my body and the body of the world takes place. I can let that pass through so that a new experience can come up.
Right. You know who also comes to mind every time there appears to be this amazing contrast between what God is as infinite good and ultimate reality and what shows up, which is presently showing up all around, is Emma Curtis Hopkins, who would look at any condition and say, no matter what, this too is good, this too is God, this too contains a blessing, and I choose to call it forth. You know, do we have that capacity? And if not, again, why not?
Yeah.
Why not let that be the governing and guiding truth for each and every one of us? That's what we're required to do. We're not out on the front lines, so to speak. We're those feisty, brave, fearless people in Ukraine and other places are. But that's one part of valuing life. The other part is, what do I do within that secret, silent drawing board of my own mind? Because that's the degree to which I let down my arms and pick up the armor of God. I'm safe, and so is everybody else, doing what is theirs to do, knowing it is all God. And that breakup of our world as it is means it's not working as it is. So I have to be a contributor to creating a better world, not just for me, but for everyone.
I like that idea of the secret place within, the secret drawing board within my mind that you were talking about. A lot of times there are thoughts on my little secret drawing board that I don't want to let out, that I think I shouldn't do, but they keep coming back. It's like a stain on the carpet that you clean it and the stain comes back up again. It just won't go away. Perhaps that's the universal presence saying, you need to pay attention to that and do something about that.
Right. You know, I heard something that really stuck with me, talking about that stuff on the back burner. And it had to do with forgiveness. And I'm sure we all are doing that work of forgiveness. And the statement was, we become that which we don't forgive. Think about that for a second. If I become that which I don't forgive, then I have that anger and that violence and that unforgiveness and grudge holding, that pain that turns into sometimes violence. I may not physically outpicture that, but there is violence, I think, in all of us that want to strike back and retaliate. And if I can't forgive those in leadership in other parts of the world that don't operate on the same democratic principle that we are also teetering and tottering on, then I'm becoming part of the problem rather than the solution and the healing and the transformation. Yeah, that really caught me this week.
Sweet. That's one of the really great things about Science of Mind for me, is that we are taught to dig deeper into the beliefs. And some of the deepest beliefs, you think about this, we do carry that violence within us. If you think, all throughout history, all throughout time, there were times when people would pack a picnic lunch to go and watch a lynching. There were times when people would gather in the center square of the city to watch a hanging in Europe. So we carry within our bones, within ourselves, that sense of violence. And if we haven't forgiven those areas outside of ourselves, we also haven't forgiven those areas within ourselves.
Right.
That's really interesting.
And what comes to mind is, you know, the seeming cartoons where someone's anger ends up, you're kicking the dog or the cat. But that's not far from the truth if we're being meticulously honest with ourselves. All the frustrations that we personally have all experienced, you know, why are you here? Why have I made Science of Mind and its study my way of life? And it still is, whether I'm seemingly actively retired or not. That's still, my kids say, why don't you relax, Mom?
Whoa, who's seemingly actively retired?
Well, whatever that is. Or, as the statement goes, rewired.
Yeah, it's rewired, yeah.
Right.
You're fully wired. You're just
Right. So, yeah, but those are the things that it's very easy, if that remark touches something, you know, I become what I don't forgive. And it's like, yeah. And then traipse along on our own little path, putting that veil down. You know, the veil that exists, I don't think it's between the human and the divine. I think it's from the places within myself and all ourselves where I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
I'm just not feeling ready.
Right.
Another day.
Yeah, but all the knowledge we have about that puts us in a really unique place. And our friend Judy Canado, you really liked Radical Amazement, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's an
Yes.
awesome book. And she says that we live in a time that calls us, just like the universe, to expand, to fling ourselves out into life with creativity and with zest.
Right.
This knowledge we have,
Yes.
we got to do something with it. And this time is really sweet that we can do something, and so quickly it can happen and move across the world.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, related to that original question, why don't I let God be God as me? Why am I not tapping fully into that creativity and zest? I had pulled up a quotation from Charles Fillmore, who at 93 said, you know, I feel he sizzled with zest and enthusiasm, going forth to do not what is mine to do, but that which I ought to do. That's the difference. That's the part that says, for me, the kid says, nobody tells me what to do anymore. I'm my own boss. So what do you mean I ought to do? If I want to do it, I'll do it. That's stubbornness, you know, so many traits that retain when all the while their rest, the answer, the solution, the zest, the creativity, enthusiasm, and Theos, God within.
Ours to do. What is ours to do?
I don't get the banana.
Oh, it's the fruit backgrounds. There are fruit backgrounds for today's slides.
And you need to peel back the skin in order to get to the sweet fruit.
There you go. What was that, Rob?
We share 75% of our DNA with bananas.
Do we now?
There is one life on this planet.
There is one life. Yes, the carbon life. Yeah. And it points to the fact that we that we have to continue to believe these truths that we're sharing with ourselves. That we need to learn to express this larger givingness on a regular basis. You were talking about Fillmore. Similar story with Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. At 93, someone asked him how come he had such zest and vigor, and he was saying, see that apple tree with the nice, beautiful blossoms on it? Every year it grows new fruit, so it can grow new apples. I do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I grow new fruit every year, new wood every year, so that I can have new
Right.
ideas, right? Yeah. That's Science of Mind textbook also says, when we express a greater livingness, I think this is right out of your quote too, Rob. When we express a greater livingness, then life is more completely expressing itself through us. Was that part of your reading this morning? I think it was. Yeah.
So what if, you know, we read these fabulous quotes and they all contain the potential for being personalized. I express, let's say it together in the I. I express a greater livingness, when life is more completely expressing itself through me.
Through me.
Through all.
Through me.
I love doing that. Just convert all these impersonal statements to an I am.
Mm-hmm.
We talk so much about I am as the nature of God. Why not bring it forth by consciously reminding myself of it at every moment that I'm aware of? Wake up.
Yeah. We've been working with the affirmation, which is to take the affirmation and turn it into a question, because the brain wants to answer questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to do the same thing with that, you would say, how is it that I so easily express the greater livingness? How is it that life is more completely expressing itself through me? And when we ask it in the question form, it helps to answer the affirmation to keep a deeper understanding
Right.
of it. So if you think about that, how is it that I express a greater livingness? How is it that you express a greater livingness? Ask that question of yourself and see if don't answers start to fall into your head around that. If you ask yourself, how is life more completely expressed by you and through you. What are those things that you're doing on a daily basis that does that?
There's a beautiful exercise. You go into a quiet meditative state, and for that very reason, knowing your human use of subconscious mind wants to fix things and solve problems. You do ask it with a sheet of paper, pen or pencil before you. You ask, how can I, or what is it that I can, or how can I take care of this, whatever this is? And then you go back into the silence, and you come back. You've written that question with your dominant hand, but you're going to answer it with your non-dominant hand after a quiet state is established, and just see what happens. And don't be worrying about making sense of it. Could be a picture, a thought, a word. Something will come forth, because we have to command and demand that come alive within us, that subjectivity where the one mind waits. Otherwise, it's just another fine idea, and we've got lots of fine ideas.
Yeah, we do, we though.
So-
Yeah, there are buildings full of people with fine ideas. They're locked behind bars,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
You know, there's this, when you were talking about that a minute ago with the non-dominant hand, which would be my right hand, there's this idea that came to me about Neville, who talks so much about feeling, and Dr. Holmes talks a lot about feeling. And so the idea that you're talking about that's coming through the non-dominant hand is a feeling idea. And if we can get to that space, there's more power behind that space.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember the old catchphrase, no feeling, no healing. Can't just be working the intellect. We're very familiar doing that. The Western intelligence that we use, it's all linear. Doesn't hold the key.
And the linear thinking, you know, there was this exchange student, European exchange student, who came to native lands in Minnesota. And while he was there, he was led by these indigenous folks to help harvest the Minnesota wild rice. And so they're on these boats, and they're going out and they're harvesting the wild rice, and he's watching how this is happening, and he's seeing how much rice is falling into the water. And so he tells them later, says, you know, I got this great idea that could maximize your rice yield every year if we use this device that I've created for you. And they went, but what would be the sense in that? Because then we wouldn't be reseeding the rice paddies, and then we wouldn't have enough rice for next year. The idea about being intentional and going to feeling space as opposed to that linear space is really powerful, because if you just go for the linear space, you're going to try and harvest as much rice as you can this year, and next year
Right.
you worry about that later. But this
Right.
is the feeling is to be in connection with, to be
Yes.
in touch with life.
And because we wander in our heads, the point is to be consciously aware of the presence of God. That's why you use, and I use, and I think more of us are using just the simplicity of a breath that says, God is, I am. From where I am, the intelligence of all life is, and what I do, I express. We're coming into Easter, you know, that horizontal and vertical line. This is the vertical divine. This is, what am I doing with it? You know, am I chickening my use of it, or am I fully expanding the possibilities?
Back to Judy, she says that this is kind of where you are right now. We must become intentional about responding to the challenges of living in an emerging universe.
Yes.
And this idea of emergence, it's so powerful, because there is stuff, I'm aware that I frequently think I've got a new idea, and it's not new at all. It just emerged from all the experiences that I've had, and they come together to make this happen. And that's happening for all of us. All of our experiences are constantly coalescing, constellating, becoming solid in mental form so they can become solid in physical form. But it helps if we can do that from an intentional space.
And we all have ideas. I remember when I first went up to Canada, to Edmonton, my first ministry, and it was winter. And I thought, well, actually it was fall, but it was already snow up to here. And I thought, why do I have to keep scraping snow from my windshield? Why doesn't someone take the shield they use to protect the sun and put it outside And I thought, yeah, so what are you going to do? You're going to become a manufacturer as well as a minister? Sure enough, somebody came up with that.
Right.
And then more than that. But ideas are always proliferating. But it's the ones we latch onto. Why you do what you do better than you do anything else. How come? Where the plumber is the plumber and the teacher is the teacher and whatever.
Reverend
Pick
E.
it.
at
Yes.
Eloise Oliver has this thing. She says that the patent office is not there to decide who was the first one to have the idea. The patent office is there to decide who was the first one to go out and do something with the
Exactly.
idea. It's always there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing. That we're all sitting on this powder keg of intelligence and love and passion and creativity. When do I exude it? Moments like this. Other times, you know, that old story, I can walk down from the podium and go home and be standing in my own place and going, so, what now? What next? You know, but it's like, what fires, what inspires, what causes you to get up in the morning and add that zest and enthusiasm? What is it that you know, even if it's not fully expressed now, it's awaiting recognition, intentional, conscious, emerging, expansiveness, evolution with the universe. The universe keeps proliferating. That's why the fruit grows every year. And even though it goes fallow in the colder months, I have the same roses I had that I planted 24 years ago. So there's something that proliferates life. I think Holmes said, life precipitates itself upon my point of conscious awareness. That's it.
And
The
it does
action.
so from this law of good, this natural desire to not just express, but to express perfectly from the seed which has been given the power to be expressed,
Right.
which sits on that powder keg that you're talking about, waiting to blow up. That's the beauty of it. And that's the thing that trust is about. I think that's why what you're saying a minute ago about the breath, about going into practice, about asking these questions of ourselves, about thinking and spending time to get our thoughts and our feelings in alignment, to go back to the daily state and to lift ourselves up to that high space so that we can have that clarity of purpose and that clarity of view to move forward with something that wants to be realized by means of us.
Yes.
It wants to. It's begging us to take the action that we sometimes resist.
Yeah, I think oftentimes, only speaking for myself, but I would suspect it's a common experience, I let myself off the hook too easily. And it's no time to let ourselves off the hook anymore. There is something I know that's prompting all of us, whether it's to see if I can package up something and send it to the Ukraine, if I can contribute financially, if I can call a friend and, hey, if you contribute, I got a great charity that I'd like to suggest. There's something more that needs to happen. Otherwise, what we're seeing, not only in Ukraine, but throughout these other parts of the world, will continue, because life precipitates itself, not only on what we give it by recognizing the divine, but by repetition of what we're not giving it. That's simply subconsciously continuing to crank itself out, retreading on old paths.
Science of mind, super optimistic philosophy and teaching. Dr. Holmes says it so well when he says this. He says, the world is much better than it knows or
Yes.
feels itself to be. We need to hold to that. The world is much better. When we're watching the news this week, when we're driving down the street and we see someone that's in a particular situation that we say, oh my God, for the grace of God, there go I. When we're in that space, if we remember, the world is much better than it knows or feels itself to be. And the way it gets to be that better is by us doing the thing that we ought to do with
Right.
zest and enthusiasm.
Back to your very first quote that said, it brought oneness to me, that I'm not separate from the world. Not only can I be better, but when I'm better, the world is better. The world is a reflection of each and every one of us put in the big collective package. So what I'm looking at, as we've been talking this morning, the dormancy of an infinite potential is always there, as is the repetition of something I'm not consciously acknowledging that, left to its own devices, will just carry me along on the old path. So,
As I was listening to you just now, I was thinking, how does she do that? How can I stand on her shoulders? But I do. I stand on your
please,
shoulders.
you don't want to stand on my shoulders.
I appreciate you being here with us this morning.
Same here.
Anytime.
Available, will travel, even to see me.
Ouch!
So, you mean we're done? Hell, I was just getting started.
Well, there's more.
Oh,
how
good.
about if you do the revealing prayer this morning?
Oh,
We'll start with us over here.
Yes.
If you didn't know, Reverend Sue and I were, I was her music director for about 13 years at Westlake, and we would do a treating duet, music and spoken word, and we're going to share that with you today.
gotta get some water. Water. Thank you.
There's a silence in the stillness of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a light God is shining. Let us see it everywhere. Let us be it everywhere.
And so, within that silent space, I quiet my thoughts. I bring a conscious sense of breathing more deeply, more cleanly, and of knowing that it is within this silence that I make new discoveries and take the commensurate actions that are in alignment with them. I am that silent space. That which I go to, I already am.
I am listening to the music of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a song God is singing, and I will listen all day long. I will listen all day long.
Ah, I hear it now. The sounds of silence that speak more eloquently than anything I can ever articulate, because what I articulate, the words I speak, come from what I draw forth, from listening in the silence to the divine guidance, direction, inspiration, of how to consciously precipitate life's highest and finest actions, of generosity, of service, of love, of compassion, of wisdom and understanding. And so in the silence, I listen deeply, preparing myself to do that which I ought to do, bringing that zest and enthusiasm and aliveness to my every thought, word, and forthcoming action.
I am moving to the rhythm of the Holy Spirit. This chance at life, God inspired, keeps me dancing. My faith is strong, keeps me dancing. My faith is strong.
I no longer feel the impetus to move with radical, heightened energy, for I know that in oneness with God, with the ultimate reality and infinite good of God, There's a movement that is in harmony, in rhythmic oneness with life itself. I move with grace and ease, following the divine inward guidance by which I am consciously, constantly aware of my infinite, inseparable oneness with God. And I ask and receive the direct words, ideas, and actions that I choose to follow devotedly, with dedication, with appreciation, gratitude. And so I move in harmony with the spirit of wholeness, with that Holy Spirit, as a result of what I hear in the silence of the Spirit. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you.
So here we have some of the ways to support our community. You can visit the website, cslsimi.org/donating. Text the word give, or you can always call the office. So here's our affirmation of abundance. So let's read it together. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for CSL Simi Valley now. Divine love is victorious. We know that there is one life, one substance, and that substance is abundant. It is in us, it flows through us, and it flows out to the community, because there is just that one circle of life, and we engage in it with intention. So we bless these offerings and these gifts as they go to support our center and all that we believe in. And so it is.
So it is. Okay. So this is our last song. It's a fabulous tune by Larissa Stowe and the Shotki Tribe, and it features Steve Fowler on guitar. All right. Well, you got the solos, baby.
Ooh,
goodness becomes you. Love, 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 till there is no enemy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, 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 till there is no enemy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Too good, 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 till goodness becomes you. Too good, 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 till goodness becomes you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We shall be the peacemakers. We shall be the peacemakers. We shall be called children of love. Children of love. Children of
All right. Whoa, Cherie Deeds, Soul Purpose Band, Steve Fowler, rocking it.
workout.
Randy, John, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I think we should take a lesson out of Dr. Sue. How about this? I am a peacemaker.
I am a peacemaker.
Yes, indeed. Oh, my goodness. The wonders of Facebook. So Mark Backrack remembered the profound Dr. Dennis statement was, there's a test to know if your mission on life is complete. If you're alive, it's not. That's the one. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Oh, but yes. So great thanks to Dr. Sue today for being with us on the platform. Thank you so much. Good work, Rob. Wonderful, our practitioner today. Rob will be available underneath the exit sign after service if you'd like to have prayer. Wonderful support team today. We've got, let's see, it looks like there's Kathy as our service team today, Costa, and Sanford. There he is. There's the man. All right. All right. Mr. Cool and Mr. Cooler. Thanks so much to, is Terry up there? Yeah, Terry's up there with Gregory, okay, in the booth, in the sound booth today. That's wonderful. Karen's available for anyone that is new or anyone who's been here who's forgotten their way. She knows everything about the building and all the things that we're doing. She can tell you that. And for all our visitors, go see Karen after the service for that. I think I've got everybody covered. Dee is doing slides, of course. And Dee is also a practitioner and can also pray for you as well. So we got that. Dr. Sue is back there playing with her toys. She doesn't have any kids today, but she's busy preparing for them. She has built it knowing they will come, right? Yeah. So one day I said something about, just grab a kid and bring it. And somebody said, you can't just grab. You can't just grab a kid. Now, I hope you would understand, I'm talking about someone that you know. That you can get permission to bring to the service. Not just like, any old kid on the street, that's too creepy and illegal. Gosh. The things you have to be careful what you say up here. Okay, let's all stand to our closing benediction and sing. I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love. Belt it out, y'all. Here it comes.
Love be with you, peace unfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in, keep us through you, make good flow to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. Love be with you, oh, love be with you. You and me, take your past and set it free and share
stronger, that I always will be true. I know you feel the same way too. Oh, I love you more today than yesterday, not as much as tomorrow. I love you more today than yesterday, only a bad time tomorrow. Yeah. I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow. I love you more today than yesterday, only as much tomorrow. Every day's a new day, every time I love you. Every day's a new day, every time I love you. Oh, oh, every day's a new day. Oh, how I love you. Every day's a new day. Oh, how I love you. I love you. Nice. You did it. Good job. Yes, it sounded good.
That song is so fast. I gotta send you a recording of the one